ॐ श्रीराम शरणं समस्तजगतां रामं विना का गतिः। रामेण प्रतिहन्यते कलिमलं रामाय कार्यं नमः। रामात्रस्यति कालभीमभुजगो रामस्य सर्वं वशे। रामे भक्तिरखण्डिता भवतु मे रामत्वमेवाश्रयः। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे। रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमूः रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम माम् उद्धर। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्याम्यहम्। कृष्णे नामरशत्रवो विनिहताः कृष्णाय तस्मै नमः। कृष्णात् एव समुत्थितं जगदिदं कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे। न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्मि गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। This shloka you would know is from the Saundarya Lahari, the first shloka. शिवः शक्त्या युक्तो यदि भवति शक्तः प्रभवितुम् न चेदेवं देवो न खलु कुशलः स्पन्दितुमपि। अतस्त्वामाराध्याम् हरिहरविरिञ्चादिभिरपि प्रणन्तुं स्तोतुं वा कथमकृतपुण्यः प्रभवति। शारदा शारदाम्भोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिः सन्निधिं कुरु। नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. The current topic that we are studying in Viveka Chudamani is Panchakosha Vivekaha, or the discriminative analysis of the five koshas. So Acharya Shankara is addressing the last question of the Shishya who has approached and who has asked Atman Atmanoho Vivekaha Katam. How to do the Viveka between Atma and Anatma. Why does the Shishya want to know that? Because both are mixed up. There is Adhyasa. Why is there Adhyasa? Because there is Avarana, cover. Why is there Avarana? Because of Avidya Maya. Why is there Avidya Maya? We cannot ask. Because Maya is Anadihi, the power of Shakti. So, Acharya is describing that how to be released from this bondage caused by the Adhyasa. And we saw the example of when there is a green moss-like, thing covering the surface of a water body, a lake or a pond, then when we remove and have the lake cleaned out, when we remove the green moss, then Shuddham Salilam is available. Clean, sparkling water is available. So too, Panchanam, the Pancha Koshanam Apavade Sati. So when we do Apavada of the five koshas from Annamaya to the Anandamaya, that is from the grossest kosha to the subtlemost kosha. How do we do that? By negation. Neti, neti. Neti, neti. Then what is the result? Just like when as pure water was available for use, so too Ayam Atma Shuddhaha Vibhati. The Atma is revealed or discovered as Nityaha, Anandaha, Ekarasaha, Swayam Jyotihi, Pratyak Rupaha, Paraha, and one becomes Anandi. Anandi Bhavati. But how do we actually do the Apavada? It is not like the green moss that could be just removed, cleaned out. Here, the solution is Acharya is pointing out Vivekena. By the discriminative analysis alone, by understanding the nature of Anatma and the nature of Atma, we are separating the two cognitively, not literally. So applying the familiar Drik Drishya Vivekaha, Vivekena. Now, what is the Drik Drishya Viveka Prakriya? We know very well that whatever is experienced, whatever is observed or witnessed, I cannot be that. Rupam drishyam lochanam drik tadrishyam driktu manasam drishyadhi vrittaya sakshi drige vanatu drishyate. The very first verse of Drik Drishya Viveka says that there is a sakshi. Sakshi is Drik Swarupaha, and that sakshi is observing or the witness of all the entire range of Anatma. And Krishna has also said this in chapter 13. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityavidhiyate etatyam vetitam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tatvidaha. You are the kshetrajnaha. Kshetram janati. That is the knower of the field. So the field is Anatma, Kshetram, and the knower is Drik or Kshetrajnaha. So this is the cognitive discriminative analysis to be done. That whatever can be objectified, that is not I, the subject. So that is the Viveka with which Acharya is explaining the Panchakosha analysis. So one by one, Acharya is going to take up the kosha and do a threadbare, very meticulous analysis from the Annamaya kosha up to the Anandamaya kosha, which is really the bulk of Viveka Chudamani. Then Acharya also says that this Viveka Vichara is kartavyaha, is to be done. It is not optional. But for whom? Vidusha. For those mumukshus who are desiring freedom, who want to be free from this finite, limited existence. Bandha vimuktaye. They want to be free. And how do they do the Viveka analysis? By the Jnana Chakshu. Jnana Chakshu is the discriminative eye of knowledge. And how do we get that eye? By attending Viveka Chudamani classes. Regularly, consistently, systematically, whoever attends the Shastra Shravanam classes, then by the grace of the Guru, and that will open that inner eye of cognition, of discrimination. So that is a kartavyaha. Then what if I do not do this Viveka Vichara? That also Acharya says, one will just continue to taste the sweet and bitter fruits of the samsara vrikshaha. And the vyavahara will be raga dvesha based. And we will be caught in this net of attachments, expectations, and our own world of demands, like the cocoon of the silkworm. And so that is why, Acharya, the same Acharya, Shankaracharya, if you remember, in the Narmada Valley, when he meets his Guru for the first time, he sings the song of negation, song of liberation, Nirvana Shatkam. Mano buddhyahankara chittani naham na shrotra jiffe na cha ghrana netre na cha vyoma bhume na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham na dharmo na chartho na kamo na moksha na saukhyam na punyam na papa na lobha mohau na raga dvesho pitanaiva me naiva mata cha janma. So that song of 6 verses, Acharya negates everything. Mata, Pita, Sukham, Dukham, all the lokas, 4 Purusharthas. Why? Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. Because that crystal clear, free from erroneous notions that knowledge has taken place in the Buddhi Guha, in the Buddhi. And so, we are not physically discarding anything, nor ignoring anything, but understanding the anatma bodies, sthula, sukshma, both, as mithya. As mithya, as that which appears and departs, which is variable. So today we're going to see more about the mithya like gross body. So Kena Upanishad also, the Guru says that when we do not do this Viveka Vichara, then Mahati Vinashtihi. So there is infinite loss. Infinite loss means we are settling for glass splinters, whereas the diamond is available. Mahatmas have said that. So that was a short recap. Now let us go to the new verse of today, which is 153, where we are going to see a very familiar example, which will be familiar to the advanced students. मुञ्जादिशीकामिव दृश्यवर्गात् मुञ्जादिशीकामिव दृश्यवर्गात् प्रत्यञ्चमात्मानमसङ्गमक्रियम् प्रत्यञ्चमात्मानमसङ्गमक्रियम् विविच्य तत्र प्रविलाप्य सर्वम् विविच्य तत्र प्रविलाप्य सर्वम् तदात्मना तिष्ठति यः स मुक्तः तदात्मना तिष्ठति यः स मुक्तः. Very important shloka. Where have we seen this? Munjadishi Kameva Katha Upanishad. Remember the last verses where Yama teaches Nachiketa how to extricate this Atma from Anatma. So there we saw this analogy. Munjat Ishikam Iva Drishya Vargat. Pratyak Pratyak Pratyaksha Atmanam Asangam Akriyam. Pratyancham Atmanam Asangam Akriyam. Vivichya, that's the verb. Tatra Pravilapya, very important verb. Sarvam Tada Atmana Tishtati Yaha Saha Muktaha. Okay. So now let us do an analysis of this shloka. Now, here that familiar drishtanta is used of the munja grass. So the munja grass is a tall grass which is used in Vedic rituals. Even in the Upanayana ceremonies, we see this munja grass. So now the munja grass will be tied around the wrist or the finger or around the waist. But it encloses a white tender stalk called ishika. Now, that ishika has to be removed very, very carefully because the munja grass can hurt and cut our finger. So, munjar ishikam iva. So too with the sukshma buddhi. With the sukshma buddhi, ekagrita buddhi, drishya vargat, pratyancham atmanam may one cognize. Yeah. So here that tender white stalk is likened to the Atma Tattvam, which is to be discovered. Yeah. And the Anatma is like the enclosing, enveloping munja grass. So, Drishya Varga. What is the Drishya Varga? Drishya Varga means all that is experienced. That is this Nama, Rupa, Kriyatmakam Jagat, which is Mithya. That is Drishya Varga. Drishya Varga means Drishya Vastu. So the entire range of whatever we experience, Drishya Vargat, from that we have to extricate or separate the Atma. Pratyancha, that word Pratyancha means Pratyagatma. Pratyak means innermost, not spatially, but in terms of subtlety. Atma is limitless. It is the subtlemost tattvam. Even than space. Only Atma is subtler than space. So that Pratyak Atmanam, and which is what? Asangaha Akriyaha. Asangaha, we already know. Atma is uninvolved, unattached, like space. Look at the space around us. It is connected with every object in the room, the table, the furniture, the books, the bed, but it is asangaha. So like that, Atma is connected with all the bodies and all their attributes and qualifications, but asangaha, uninvolved, unaffected, unattached, asangaha. Then what else is Atma? Akriyaha. Akriyaha is easy, is free from action, actionless. Atma has no plans, no to-do lists, yeah, and it has no parts, it cannot move, it cannot grasp. So it is Akarta Abhokta Atma Sakshi. That's the first line. The second line has the important verbs, Vivichya. Vivichya means to separate the two, Atma and Anatma. I know you see the what is the closest Anatma for us? The bodies, right? But can we, remove the physical body or the mind? Not possible, right? So we have to do this vichara vivekena through the power of discrimination. That is vivichya. Then Vivichya Tatra, that is here. What kind of Viveka are we doing? Pravilapanam. Pravilapya is your lap pratyaya. Pravilapanam means to do, to resolve, to merge. Take the example of the table in front of you. So when we understand that the table is really wood, what have we done? Pravilapanam. We have merged the table into the wood. Now there is only wood. Table is Namarupa. Table is gone. So then the familiar example, we do Pravilapanam for the pot. We say the pot is but clay. There is no real pot. Pot is Namarupa. Pravilapanam. So we have merged what? The Karyam pot into Karanam clay. The Karyam table into Karanam wood. So endless examples we have. Do Pravilapanam for your ornaments. The golden ornaments resolved into gold. The waves resolved into water. And the snake resolved into the rope. This is called Pravilapanam. Resolving back or merging. This is how to do the Viveka. Then what will happen? Pravilapya Sarvam. Upadesha Saram also we have seen this, where Maharishi says that, withdraw from the entire Drishya Varga. That is when there is no more Nama Rupa Buddhi, then what do we see any Nama Rupa as? We will see our children as Jivas, they are really Jivatmas. And the superficial attributes, the connections will be in the background. But the Sukshma Buddhi will see the essence, Asti, Bhati, Priyam, in every Nama Rupa. So that is the Vivechanam talked about here. That is the Apavada, that is the negation. So what is really negation? Understanding. Understanding that wherever there is Mithya, there is Satyam. You take any Mithya tree, Mithya person, Mithya object. So when you explore and do this Vivechanam, then we will arrive at the Tattvam, the causeless cause. That familiar example, you take the Angavastram. Angavastram is Namarupa Mithya, but its Karanam, the fabric is Satyam. Then you take the fabric. Fabric is Namarupa, yarn is Satyam. Fabric is Mithya. Then the yarn goes back into the thread, into that cotton, into molecules and atoms, and then Pancha Mahabhutas. Then finally, the causeless Karanam, that is Brahma Satyam. So this is the vision. This is how the Panchakosha Viveka is going to happen for every kosha. So then what will happen when we do this Viveka analysis? Tada Atmana Tishtati Yaha. And the one person will abide, or he or she will remain as Atma and will understand that all these endowments, these value additions, the bodies, all the faculties that I'm enjoying, they're all mithya, they're all to be appreciated, but they're all karyam, they're all dependent, they appear and they depart, they change, they're subject to changes, but I am Drik Swarupaha Sakshi Atma, Kshetrajnaha. And then Yaha Tadatmana Tishtati Saha what? Muktaha. Such is the free person. He is really the free person. So, you see how when we study various texts, we are studying so many Upanishads, Prakaranas, Bhagavad Gita few times, but the topic remains the same. It is always about Atma and Atma. But what has really happened? The Buddhi becomes Sukshma. The more we study Shravanam, Mananam, we are sharpening the Sukshma Buddhi. That is why one must attend all the classes without a break. So the whole Jiva Yatra is about what? Initially, we see only plurality. Infinite Nama, Rupas, Kriyas. Then the infinite plurality reduces to two. What are the two? Drik Drishya, Atma and Atma. Then even the two collapses into one. Ekarasaha, Ekaha Atma. And everything else is a manifestation or glory of Atma. The bodies are dependent on the power and glory of Atma. And so, finally, the one who has understood Atma Satyam, Atma Brahma Satyam, and Jagat Mithya is the Mukta Purushaha. So you see that there is, no new knowledge that, is created in the Shastras. No? We are only discovering. What a beautiful word. Discover is to remove the cover. Avarana. When avarana is removed, then the Tattvam shines forth. Nitya Shuddha Atma Aham. So that discovering Atma can only happen when we systematically, consistently do the Vivechanam, the cognitive discriminative analysis. Okay? So that is the important verse here. मुञ्जादिशीकामिव दृश्यवर्गात् प्रत्यञ्चमात्मानमसङ्गमक्रियम् विविच्य तत्र प्रविलाप्य सर्वम् तदात्मना तिष्ठति यः स मुक्तः. So those disguised verbs, pravilapya, vivichya are the key words here. Lyap pratyaya, having done viveka, vivichya. Pravilapya, having done pravilapanam, or the resolution. The resolution into the tattvam. Then one becomes the mukta purushaha. Then the next shloka, number 154. Now, Acharya has already introduced the Panchakoshas, no? And we know them Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Kosha. These are the 5 layers of our personality and the 5 koshas. And in the Viveka Chudamani, Acharya is going to meticulously, elaborately dissect every kosha. So now we are going to enter into the Viveka of the first and the grossest kosha, which is Annamaya Kosha. So few verses dedicated only to Annamaya Kosha. Why? Because so much infatuation is centered on the body. When we look at ourselves in front of the mirror, so generally we want to look very presentable and very beautiful. Nothing wrong in that. But now Acharya is going to say, what is underneath the skin? So what all is there underneath the skin? If we know it, if we can see it, we will be alarmed and disgusted. But why does Acharya do this? For us to get vairagyam. Yeah? Vairagyam and a certain distancing to understand that what all we are beautifying the body with lotions and foundation and makeup and perfumes. Yeah? It is really very well packaged. But what is inside, we are going to see now in the next few verses. So let's see the 154th verse, which is in the long meter. देहोऽयमन्नभवनोऽन्नमायास्तु कोशः देहोऽयमन्नभवनोऽन्नमायास्तु कोशः चान्नेन जीवति विनश्यति तद्विहीनः चान्नेन जीवति विनश्यति तद्विहीनः त्वक्चर्म मांसरुधिरास्थि पुरीशराशिः त्वक्चर्म मांसरुधिरास्थि पुरीशराशिः नायं स्वयं भवितुमर्हति नित्यशुद्धः नायं स्वयं भवितुमर्हति नित्यशुद्धः देहः अयम् अन्नभवनः अन्नमायाः तु अन्नमयः क्षिपिया अन्नमयः तु कोशः देहः अयम् अन्नभवनः अन्नमयः तु कोशः च अन्नेन जीवति विनश्यति तत् विहीनः त्वक् चर्म मांस रुधिर अस्थि पुरीश राशिः न अयं स्वयं भवितुम् अर्हति नित्यशुद्धः. So this is talking about our body, about the physical body. This deha. Now you know the etymological derivation of deha. Dahana yogyah iti deha. That which will be cremated one day. Dahana yogyah is deha. Yeah. In our culture. Some cultures, body is buried. And even in our culture, the body is offered, in as a Jala Samadhi or Bhu Samadhi and Agni, of course, no? And the other word Shariram for the Deha, that etymological derivation is Shirya Swabhavatvat iti Shariraha. Beautiful names, they just reveal the meaning. Shirya Swabhava means that which is disintegrating. Every moment it is disintegrating. So now let us look at what Acharya says. Dehaha ayam. This body. What is it? Anna bhavanaha. Bhavan. Bhavan means a residence, an address, a place of stay, homestay. So bhavanaha. But this bhavanam is not made of bricks and cement. It is made of annam. Now, Swamiji will say the North Indian bodies are made of paratha, lassi, chole bhatura, puri masala, and the South Indian gross bodies are made of idli, vadai, chutney, dosa, sambar, masala, masala dosa, and payasam, right? But fact remains that the Anna Bhavanaha is Annamayaha. Annamayaha means that mayat. Mayat is a suffix in Sanskrit which means vikararthe, modification. So the gross body is a modification of Annam. Taittiriya Upanishad, we have seen that. No? Tasmat etasmat akasha sambhutaha. Akashat vayuhu, vayoho agnihi, agne apaha, adbhyah prithvi, prithivyaha oshadhayaha, oshadhibhyo annam, annat purishaha. So we know the whole cycle. How does the baby in the womb get nourishment? Annam, through the umbilical cord. Then when it is born, how does it grow? It was just 1 kg, 2 kg. Annena jivati. Annena vardhate. So that is the first line. I am Anna Bhavanaha Dehaha is Annamayaha, modification of food. And the body is going to wax and wane. We may all have made New Year resolutions to lose weight. So when we fast and we do gymming, or some exercise, when we deprive this Anna Bhavanaha of the regular food, especially the fatty foods, then it is going to what? Tat vihinaha vinashyati. It will first lose all the muscle and the belly fat will go. Then finally it will wither and shrink. Then when we eat more food, we eat many times a day, then annena jivati, it is going to expand. So, this is what some Jain monks do. They stop eating when they want to attain moksha. For them, that's a period of austerity. So they will stop solid food first and then even liquids. And then you can see how the body just shrivels and then they just wait for that antakala to merge with their, Ishvara. So that is the first line here. Annena jivati tat vihinaha vinashyati. So the body is just a modification of food. We have seen this in the Bhagavad Gita also, chapter 16, I think, where Krishna describes the 3 kinds of annam, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, and how the gross part of the food forms the gross body. But the subtle part of the food, the mantras, the vibrations, forms the mind. Jaisa anna, vaisa man. Jaisa pani, vaisa vani. If we are clear about the liquids, the water especially, then the speech will be very sweet and mellifluous. And if the food is pure, then it'll give a very strong, healthy body and more important, harmonious mind. So that is the Annamaya Koshaha. Acharya is analyzing. Now the second line analyzes the nature of this Annamaya Koshaha. What are the constituents of this gross body? The gross body is a Rashihi. This is not that Makara Rashi and that Rashi. Here, the word Rashihi means a heap, and a heap or a bundle. And there, the whole list is given. It starts with Tvak. Tvak means skin. But underneath the skin, we have another lining. We all know that. Epidermis, no? That is charma, the next. So, Tvak, charma. Mamsa is flesh. Then Rudhira, blood flow. And Asti, bones. Then Purisha. Purisha is urine. Very important for that elimination system. The kidneys to eliminate the waste. Yamadevata is the presiding deity for that. Yeah. And this Purisha Rashi. That word Rashi means this gross body is but a heap. Heap means assembly. It's not just a random heap. You see how intelligently assembled the body is. No? Can our biological mothers create the liver function or the kidney function? No. So that is the intelligently assembled body where all the muscles and the joints and the organs, they all have their respective functions. Feet are meant for gamanam, hands are meant for grasping, the kidneys are eliminating, the blood is getting pumped in and out, the liver is secreting the bile juice. So all these glands and organs are just amazingly doing their function. It's like a whole factory. That is called as Rashi. Then, at the end, it says, Na ayam swayam bhavitum arhati nitya shuddhaha. How can you take this Rashi, this heap, this intelligently put together assemblage for oneself? Swayam bhavitum arhati nitya shuddhaha katham. Rhetorical question, yeah? That is Atma being Nitya Shuddhaha. We saw just in the last verse, Atma is Akriyaha, Atma is Asangaha. So unattached, uninvolved, actionless Atma. There is no Papa Punyam for Atma. So it is Nitya Shuddhaha. But look at the body. The body is secreting pus and in summer sweat, then fecal matter, then urine and bile juice, and everything is happening inside. But fortunately, we are not watching all this. Why? Because Ishvara has graciously packaged and wrapped the whole thing with this largest organ called skin, Tvak. So, Tvak, Charma, Mamsa, Rudhira, Asti, Purisha, Rashihi, Na Ayam. Here the Ayam is Atma. It is not Ayam Atma. This is Viveka being done right now. So, Swayam Bhavitum Arhati Nitya Shuddhaha. That na is important. Na negates it. So, this Anatma Dehaha body, na Nitya Shuddhaha Atma Bhavitum Arhati, does not deserve or does not qualify to be called Atma. So that is the Viveka here. So the question here is, how can one mistake this Karyam body to be oneself Atma? Nitya Shuddhaha Atma. And so that is the bare truth. The bare truth that if we are living a very body-centered life, some people just want to develop biceps and triceps, and then standing in front of the mirror, we are applying makeup and, or dyeing the hair or whatever reason, hiding the wrinkles. So that kind of infatuation, Acharya is pointing out now. So we should be clear that the body is really a Rashihi. It is an assembly. It's doing its job wonderfully, no? But just like with any machine, It will be subject to wear and tear. Hmm? Then some people, kidney failure happens, this organ, that organ, muscles will become tight and stiffen up, joints will start sounding, giving the sounds. So that is the nature of this deha. And this gross body is Annamayaha. And when we give it sattvic food, we keep it healthy. And when it is food is not healthy or deprived, then the body also wanes and vinashyati. It is Shat Vikaravat. So, 154th shloka is where Acharya is introducing the Deha. Already Acharya has introduced this a little bit earlier. Here there are more details. Dehoyamanna bhavanonnamayastu koshaha चान्येन जीवति विनश्यति तद्विहीनः त्वक्चर्म मांसरुधिरास्ति पुरीशराशिः नायं स्वयं भवितुमर्हति नित्यशुद्धः. See, this, we should not think it's such a negative portrayal. Yeah. It is just for us to cultivate dispassion. In the Shivamanasa Puja, the same Acharya says, Atma Tvam Girijamatihi Shariram Griham, describes beautifully how the body is a temple for the Shiva Tattvam seated in the throne, and how all the organs inside the body, they are offering their functions and activities as Naivedyam to the Shiva Tattvam. The mind is Girija Devi. And all the activities are centered around the Shiva Tattvam. Yat yat karomi tatta dakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Walking is pradakshina, eating is naivedyam, sleeping is your samadhi, speech is uttering stotrams. So there are positive, descriptions and not so positive descriptions like this current verse. But it is all meant for us to have the understanding that the body is mithya. It is a karyam, effect, very intelligently put together effect for a certain purpose to serve the jiva who is living in the body. We all give our homes, all beautiful names, Guru Bhavanam and Guru Kutya, like that. Even the body is a sacred indwelling place of residence. Let's go to the next shloka now. 155. Now here, Acharya explains the changes that the body is going to go through. पूर्वं जनेरधिमृतेरपि नायमस्ति पूर्वं जनेरधिमृतेरपि नायमस्ति जातक्षणक्षणगुणो नियतः स्वभावः जातक्षणक्षणगुणो नियतः स्वभावः नैको जडश्च घटवत् परिदृश्यमानः नैको जडश्च घटवत् परिदृश्यमानः स्वात्मा कथं भवति भावविकारवेत्ता स्वात्मा कथं भवति भावविकारवेत्ता पूर्वं जनेः अधि मृतेः अपि न अयम् अस्ति जातक्षणः क्षणगुणः अनियतस्वभावः न एकः जडः च घटवत् परिदृश्यमानः स्वात्मा कथं भवति भावविकारवेत्ता. A rhetorical question in the end. So now Acharya is continuing the description of the body and says that if you mistake the body to be yourself, if you're identified with the kshetram, drishyam body and say this is who I am, then you are making a mistake. This is an erroneous notion. Why? Because purvam janehe. Purvam janehe means before the birth. Before your birthday, where were you? We were all, in some loka. So, so we were all in some loka. What were we doing? As a Sukshma Shariram, we were searching which womb to enter, yeah, which family to be born into, where I will pick up the thread of my Jiva Yatra and continue. So that is what the Jiva Sukshma Shariram is doing before the birth. So this body that I say my body, it was not there before birth. Purvam Janehe na ayam asti. That's not there. Now what about after the Antakala? So when the prarabdha is completed, we all know that the body will be offered back to nature, recycled, divine recycling. The Pancha Mahabhutas that were instrumental in, assembling this body from the Tamoguna Maya Shakti, Pancha Mahabhutas, and after Panchikaranam, we saw all that, assembling the body. Then at the end, we have to return it to Ishvara, or back to nature. And that is the Antima Agni Karyam. So, Adhi Purvam Janehe na ayam asti. Then Adhi Mritehe api na ayam asti. Ayam is ayam deha. This body is not there. No, that's why Shankaracharya in the Bhajagovindam says, Kate Kanta Kaste Putraha Kasyatvam Kah Kuta Ayataha Bhajagovindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate Kate Kanta. Where was your wife, before you married? Did you know her? No, but now you call her your beloved. And your son? Where was your son before he was born to you? You don't know that. Where did you come from? Where were you before you were born? I don't know. So, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam. Understand that this life is a page in the entire book. So, na ayam asti. Then, jata kshanaha, kshana gunaha, aniyata swabhavaha. Remember the avagraha? There's a hiding there. So we have to say aniyata swabhavaha. Aniyata swabhava means what? There is no niyati. There is no predictability for this body. We wake up, one morning and suddenly some sprain happens somewhere. Yeah, and kshana gunaha. That is every moment, is it not changing? Especially parents, when the newborn baby, it's very beautiful actually to watch, how the first burp, then the first time the, kavandadam, the baby will turn, then the baby will stand, then it will start walking, and then talking. Some people, the baby does not talk for 1, 2 years. So they will record all these impressions, how rapidly the changes happen. And then the parents say, before our eyes, that toddler, 2-year-old toddler, became a child, adolescent, youth, and marriage, became a parent, then grandparent, and now we are great grandparents. So that is called Kshana. Jata Kshanaha Kshana Gunaha Aniyata Swabhavaha. See, Aniyata Swabhava means that there is no predictability. If one could predict, then we could predict the changes and do something about it. I could stop wrinkles from happening, or the hair from turning gray. This does not happen. Aniyata Swabhava is uncertainty is there for the body. No? That's why it's very important, all the resolutions like exercising every day. Health is the most important, and meditation even more important, so that we are able to go along with the flow, unpredictable flow of life. Yeah. And so aniyata swabhavaha. Then na ekaha. So the body is not just one body. Yeah. Now, if we look back in our own life, it looks like we have taken so many births. Like the baby body is like one life. Then the youthful adolescent, when I look back, I'm amazed what all I did. Turbulent, that seems to be another body. No, so that's why Acharya says Balyavastha, Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara. They're all like different bodies. They're all changing. Aniyata Swabhavaha. Na ekaha. Then what else is the body? Jadaha. Jadam. Hmm? Jadam we know is inert, insentient. So the body has no power of its own and it is dependent. It is dependent and it cannot control itself. No, the body does not say I want to lose weight or I want to put on weight, I want to become fair or I want to become dark. No, there's somebody else sitting who says all this. That's the jivaha, karta bhokta ahankara jivaha. But right now we are discussing the body. So the body is jadaha. Then Acharya says, what do you mean by jadam? Ghatavat. Without a pot, you cannot have a Vedanta class. So, with a simple pot, Acharya explains the entire vision Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. And here, Acharya says Ghatavat means just like how tangibly I see the pot, it is visible, it is Drishyam, it is Karyam, so too the body. Ghatavat Jadam. It has no will of its own, no power of its own. Jadaha, chag, ghatavat. Paridrishyamanaha. Paridrishyamanaha means paritaha drishyamanaha. It is seen. It is very well perceived as a product. Yeah, paridrishyamana. Very well seen. Very clearly, as I see the pot, I should be able to see the pot-like body. Some of us are struggling with the pot bellies. So, this pot-like body is paridrishyamanaha, very clearly seen. Then the last quarter is Svatma katham bhavati bhava vekaravetaha? Rhetorical question. So, such a jadavastu, karyam, dehaha, how can you say that it is Atma? So, Svatma katham bhavati, how can you say? Because it is, one is really bhava vikara veta. Bhava vikara veta. Veta means the knower. With dhatu. So, veta is the knower. So, knower of what? Bhava vikaras. So, Atma or one is the knower of all the changes happening in the body. I know when I have defective vision or faulty hearing, then only I will go and consult a doctor because I've observed the changes. So I am really drik, bhava vikara veta. Then svatma katham bhavati. How can this deha, which is witnessed and which is observed, how can it become the observer? It is not. So finally, here the shloka is talking about that how the body was not there in the beginning and it will cease to exist one day. It will not be there in the end. What about the middle? Is it there now? Yes and no. So, in the Mandukya Upanishad, there is a mantra, Adau ante cha nasti, vartamanepi nasti. That is, even though we see the body like Ghatavat, like the pot, but it is an appearance. It is an appearance which is constantly changing. Born is gone, born is. Constantly changing. There is no niyata svabhavaha. And that is why the birthdays are called appearance days. Appearance days. And that is, even in the middle, there is, it is going away, the body, in the sense that we cannot arrest the growth. It is following a different order. Some Shakti is ruling over the body. The anatomy, the physiology is governed by some laws. And so, how can it be Atma? That is the who governs the laws? Atma Brahma. So, Bhava Vikara Veta Aham Natu Ayam Dehaha. See, after reading all these shlokas, will we want to celebrate our birthdays? So that is why birthdays are celebrated for children. And Guru's birthdays we celebrate Because we Shishya celebrate. The Guru does not celebrate. Because the Guru is Anandi Bhavati, is enjoying the Ananda Swarupa Atma always. So, this is 155. पूर्वं जनेरधिमृतेरपि नायमस्ति जातक्षणक्षणगुणो नियतस्वभावः नैको जडश्च घटवत्परिदृश्यमानः स्वात्मा कथं भवति भावविकारवेत्ता. Now, let's go to 156. Do one more shloka today. There's a simple meter here. पाणिपादादिमान् देहः पाणिपादादिमान् देहः नात्मा व्यङ्गेऽपि जीवनात् नात्मा व्यङ्गेऽपि जीवनात् तत्तत् शक्तेरनाशाश्च न नियं यो नियामकः न नियं यो नियामकः. पाणिपादादिमान् देहः न आत्मा व्यङ्गे अपि जीवनात् तत् तत् शक्तेः अनाशः च न नियम्यः नियामकः. So this is very simple verse, this is, and here Acharya is saying how this anatma, any anatma you take in the world, it will have avayava. Avayava means parts, limbs. Whereas atma is niravayava. Niravayava means no limbs and no parts. Because atma is ekaha. Atma is the whole. Indivisibly whole. WHOLE. So Panipadadi Man. Deha. So this body has what? Has got constituents, limbs like pani, hands, pada, feet, adi padartha. You can add muscles, joints, organs, all this, face, neck, back. So pani padadi man deha, na atma. Whereas atma, does atma have parts? No, atma is niravayavi. Then Vyange api Jivanat. Now Vyangaha. Who is a Vyangaha? Vina Angaha. Now we all have Angas. Now we are all so blessed because all the faculties are working fairly well, right? We have not lost a limb like the war heroes, or some who are Divyangas, specially abled. Especially able people. So, Vyange api Jivanat. So, even though there may be a loss of a limb, a hand or a foot in some accident or in war or some medical emergency, still what Jivanat, the life goes on, one lives on. So, Acharya is showing how with limbs or without limbs, one cannot be the body. Then tat tat shaktehe anashaha cha. Now we know from Tattva Bodha that how every part of the body, limbs are governed by a presiding deity. So there is a Shakti, there is a power and potential. Tat tat, respective power, shaktehe anashaha. That Shakti is there. Even if the limb is not there. When the physical counterpart is not there, like somebody has lost a leg, or a hand. But that subtle indriyam, faculty of grasping or walking, gamanam, or hearing or sight is there. But the physical counterpart is missing. And that is why in medical science, transplants are possible, grafting, they're doing what amazing technology, cornea transplant, heart transplant, then Jaipur foot, then we can do, artificial replacement of knees and hands. And then they're able to grasp again and walk again. So tatu tatu shaktehi anashaha cha. Na niyamya niyamakaha. So let's take the word Niyamya. Niyamya means controlled. What is controlled here? The body. The body is subject to the Shat The body has no controlling power. We know that. The body is aging and will age, is subject to the sixfold changes. So it is niyamya. And what else? Na niyamakaha. A niyamakaha is the one controlling. Niyamakaha means the one who puts a niyama. Niyama is an order, is a rule. But the deha is na niyamakaha, is not controlling anything. It's not the controller. So you see how Acharya is doing a threadbare analysis of the anatma body, and it's going to continue for one or two verses more. पाणिपादादिमान् देहः नात्मा व्यङ्गेऽपि जीवनात् तत्तच्छक्तेरनाशाश्च न नियम्यो नियामकः. So how this body is intelligently put together, but there is a lot of differences between Atma and Anatma. At least 10 differences. Like Anatma body is Savayava, has parts. Atma is Niravayava, no parts. Then Deha, Anatma is Saguna, Atma is Nirguna. Then Deha is Savikara, Atma is Nirvikara. Deha is Jadam, Atma is Chetana Vastu. Then Deha is Anekaha, variously manifesting, but Atma is Ekaha, Advitiya. Then recently, just now we saw, Anatma is Niyamya, controlled, but Atma is Niyamakaha. And of course, Deha is Ghatavat Drishyam, and Atma is Drik, Swarupaha. Atma is the experiencer, Sakshi, and Deha is always experienced and witnessed. Okay. Om. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ तत्सत्